Hi everyone, Dave here, back with another video, and today we're going to be discussing Blue Period and why I personally think it's a very important anime, or at least one of the more important ones that I've seen in a little while. Just a few quick caveats before we get in. Sometimes when I do a more in-depth review like this, I try to splice in clips and things, but sometimes with my reviews, I just talk, and that's mostly kind of every video on my channel is just me talking about manga and anime, which I hope you guys like. But I'm trying to do little things here and there to splice up my videos and make them at least a little more interesting to a viewer. So in one of my favorite videos I've done, which was a kind of a review of Kotaro Lives Alone, I spliced in clips, tried to mix it up a little bit, and in certain other videos I've put in clips of stuff, which I wanted to do for this review, but a few things held me back from that. Mainly, I couldn't really find the right clips. I can't straight up screen grab from Netflix. At least the technology I have doesn't allow me to do that because it comes out blank. Like it'll record the audio, but it won't record any of the visuals. So if anyone has tips on that, on how to get around that, please let me know, because I don't I don't know a whole lot when it comes to that sort of thing. But the main reason was on that Kotaro video, I got a copyright claim, which isn't a huge deal. Like, I don't make any money. I'm not looking to make money from this, at least not right now. I'm just doing this because I enjoy talking about manga and anime, and I enjoy talking with you guys about manga and anime. But just with my channel still being pretty small, I don't really want to have to deal with that, and I don't want that to affect anything in the future. So I'm just gonna talk like I do with my normal videos. Like I said, with these more in-depth reviews, I like to add in more, but unfortunately I just can't do that here today. But anyway, wasted 2 minutes. I just felt the need to explain that. But let's get into Blue Period and why I think it's very important. So I guess just a little overview on what Blue Period is. Blue Period is an anime or a manga. A lot of people say the manga is better, which is most of the time the case. Most of the time the manga is better than the anime, because the manga usually is the closest we have to the artist's or the author's original vision. So I will say that if you want the full experience of Blue Period, I've heard that the manga is better, but I watched the Netflix anime, and I still thought it was pretty good. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But basically, it's about a kid named Yaguchi who it kind of leads this life of appearing like kind of a little bit of a punk, maybe a bit of a rebel. He hangs out with his homies, they go out, they party, they smoke, they whatever. And he gets to a point in his life where he kind of wants maybe a little bit more out of life, and he kind of wants he wants more, and he wants to actually kind of feel like he's doing something. And that one thing leads to another, and it leads him to the world of art, into the world of painting. And he starts realizing that art and painting and sketch work and they delve into a lot of different topics when it comes to art, but I think the most famous or the most prevalent one is canvas work, like painting, sketching, things like that. And he starts to feel like, wow, I'm really able to express myself this way, and I'm able to actually touch in on emotions and feelings that I didn't know I had, and I never thought I would really be able to express. And here I am able to do that through artwork. And, he starts to get better at it. He starts to really form his life around art, which I think is something that a lot of people may be able to relate to, not necessarily for art. I mean, I guess art is kind of a grand thing. Like, you could argue that what I'm doing right now is a form of art. I wouldn't say that, of course, but one could argue that making videos is art. Making music is art. Making anything is art in a way, because you're, putting yourself into it, and you're creating something, right? And it's, and this is why I feel like this anime is pretty important, because it touches on that theme of like, you don't have to settle, and you can use your gifts that you were given by whoever you want to believe in, God, spaghetti monster, science. Like, you were given things, you were born with things that you can then use to help better yourself, and you don't have to settle for things. And that's something that I've been having to teach myself lately, and I'm sure a lot of you can maybe relate to, is the fact of like, life sucks. We can all agree that life fucking sucks. But it doesn't have to be outright garbage. You know what I mean? So there are things that are just going to suck in life, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. But you don't have to settle for the suck. You can at least build it up and maybe get it to not garbage, is what I just said. I'm trying to think of a better analogy than just this sucks and this is garbage, but that's all I can think of right now. But you guys understand what I'm saying. So I think this is an important lesson in the show of teaching you that if you have a desire, you have a goal. And sometimes, and Yaguchi didn't start painting until, he was in his last year of high school, or his second to last year of high school. There are things that I'm 26, and there are things that I'm just picking up for the first time. I mean, I just started this YouTube channel, I think late last year, earlier this year, I don't exactly remember. But, it's not too late to start doing things, and it's not too late to change your life. It's not too late to find something that really matters to you, and it's not too late to pursue that. And I think, again, that's a great lesson, and something that I personally really held on to with this manga, with this anime, and with this story, because that's something that I'm trying to teach myself as well. But anyway, that's just kind of a bit of the background of the show and a bit of initial thoughts as to why I really kind of liked this show. And now let's get into my notes and get into some more specifics. The first thing I wrote down is Yaguchi has an arc, which is very nice to watch. He starts out as this kind of, and the show itself is, I think, like 12 episodes or 24. It's pretty short. So they kind of had to really cram his arc in there. So it is a little kind of fast paced. Like, there'll be moments where they're in high school and then they're taking a college course, and you're like, wait, are they in college yet, or it's just a practice course or whatever? And then it, that can maybe be a little jarring to be like, wait, I thought they were just in high school, and then they go back to high school. Not really go back to high school, but it's like, oh, okay, no, they're still in high school. So I don't know, it might have just been me, but it made it a little hard to follow timeline wise. But for Yaguchi's arc, him starting out as kind of a punk, kind of a rebel, honestly, kind of a dick at the beginning. He first meets some of the people in the art club and kind of shits on art a little bit. And then quickly becomes, a nice guy. And that's nice to see, as a bit of quote-unquote redemption arc. But at the same time, with it being a shorter series, it kind of came on a little quick. So it was like, oh, he's a dick. Oh, no, he's not. Okay, we're fine with that, I guess. But, it is what it is. Not a huge deal. And also, he's played by Johnny Onbosch in the dub, and I really like Johnny Onbosch as a voice actor. He was in my top 5 English voice actors video, so really like him, and that was fun to see, or fun to hear, I guess. Another point I wrote down is the thought of finding what has value to you, which is kind of, I guess, what I touched on in the beginning of the video a little bit. Was you might be thrown in all these different directions with when it comes to life, or when it comes to people in your life trying to push you down one way or another, but the important thing is what makes you happy and what do you find value in. And that's something that I think this show really delves into and touches on a lot. Another thing I liked about the show was they actually teach art techniques and terminology. off the top of my head, I'm not a huge art guy, but I did take a few art classes growing up, and there was a period of time where I was very into drawing and cartooning and things like that, so I'm familiar with the terminology. And so that was nice to see, just being an art fan myself, and anyone else who watches the show who is knowledgeable about those sort of things. I think we'll find some appreciation in that. It's nice to know that a show knows what it's talking about. You don't want a show coming out here and just talking out its ass, like it doesn't have anything to say. Another kind of point of finding your passion is the thought of doing something you like, not because you like it, not because society says so or you need to get a job. Let me rephrase that because I said that weird. So basically, again, this kind of relates to the whole point of what I'm saying before is a lot of people keep telling these kids throughout the series, like, oh, you're not going to find a job. When Yaguchi comes home and says, hey, I'm going to be an artist, this thing that not only doesn't pay well, but also something that he just started getting into. His parents are, understandably a little worried. They're like, I don't know, man, how are you going to find a job, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you gotta do what you want to do in life. We're only here once, and it feels short sometimes. It feels like it goes by quick. I mean, literally, I'm 26, and I still can't really fathom the fact that I'm 26, because it feels like just yesterday I was, I was a college kid at the bar doing shots with my buddies, and now I'm here, So life moves quick, and you have to be okay, and you have to, people around you might not understand, but at the very least, you got to surround yourself with people that support you in doing what you want because you want to do it, not because society says you should, not because you get a job. Obviously, the way that things work, yeah, you need a job, you need to make money. That's how it works. But that doesn't mean you immediately give up on your dreams. That doesn't mean you can't, in this case, be an artist, because you can. And especially in this day and age, it's not easy, obviously, but you can definitely make a career out of art in this day and age. But anyway, that's so. So the series moves fast. I wrote that down here. I mentioned that before. The show does also tackle some pretty important themes. There's talk of stress, which is something that I'm sure we all can relate to, especially with how the world has been going. I was going to say these past few years, but honestly, forever. Like, I don't remember a time where I wasn't stressed. And it tackles themes of, mental illness a little bit too. And just the thought of, like, in society having all this pressure, and there's, throughout the series, they're building up for this final entry exam into college, and and you see the pressure that these students are under, to get this work done and to do the best that they can on this work and on these paintings. And you see the toll that takes. You see students quit. You see students kind of break down. They talk about, a student that ended up in the hospital because, if I'm remembering correctly, because she wasn't eating, because she was too busy working. And that's a real thing that happens with kids, and it's very dangerous. There's a lot that happens with stress. I mean, I don't think we fully realize how much stress can affect a person. I read a story the other day. A perfectly healthy 26-year-old woman had a stroke because she was under so much stress. Showed no signs of it. Her family showed no signs of having like a history of stroke, stuff. But she had one because she was under so much stress. And that's a real thing that happened. So I think an anime tackling that is very important because it makes it a little more accessible. Not that Blue Period is the first show to tackle those themes or the best show to tackle those themes. I'm not saying that at all. But I do, as somebody who struggled with, with self-image, with mental illness, with stress, with a lot of stuff, it's nice to see a show tackle that and explain those feelings and how that may relate, in this case, to art. Or other shows may, I watch a lot of sports shows, obviously. Not that All Out really does that, but, it's a sports show. But sports shows may take that and relate it to sports. And, and I think that's just, one of the reasons why I personally really like anime is because you can take similar themes and apply that to a bunch of different scenarios, but it all makes sense because at the end of the day, these are people that go through a lot of similar same emotions, regardless of if you play on a rugby team or if you're a painter. I hope that makes sense, but I'm trying to explain that the themes are important. Also, another important theme is there's one student that Yaguchi is friends with. I forget her name off the top of my head. I apologize. This review has been a little while in the making because I watched this a while ago, but I just haven't been able to actually sit down and make the review for it. But she is transgender. So it's an important theme to tackle because, again, one, she goes through a lot of her parents not accepting her for who she is. And again, we're only here once, so you got to be happy. And if that means that if you're not happy being who you are and you want to change that, then you have every right to do that, right? You have every right to be who you want to be. You have every right to make the life for yourself that you want, right? I think at the end of the day, all we want is peace, right? All we want to do is feel at peace. And, she struggles with that. She struggles with getting the acceptance from her peers, from her parents, and, weaving that into her art is very powerful. And she actually, spoiler alert, winds up giving up art because, she is going through a lot and she needs to kind of refocus what she's doing, and I think that's very powerful. And I think that tackling those themes, again, not that Blue Period is the first or the best to do it, but I think taking a swing and tackling those themes at all is very important and can be very powerful and potentially very helpful to a lot of people. It being on Netflix, it probably got seen by a fair amount of people. It's, these are important things that we need to be talking about and can't forget about. I mean, I still hear stories of people, and being mistreated or looked down upon because they were born one way but want to identify as something else. And at the end of the day, how does that affect you? If someone says, "Hey, I want to be that. I'm a guy. I want to be a girl." Cool. Well, what's your name? So let me know your name and your pronouns so I don't mess that up for you. I'm a refer to you by what you want to be referred to as, and we'll go from there. I'm not going to treat you any differently because you're happy. I'm happy for you. It's not that hard, Like, people get their fucking panties in a bunch or their fucking dicks riled up, being like, "Oh, that's weird. That's weird. I'm not gonna do." I think you're exerting more energy fighting against this person who just wants to be themselves than just saying, "Hey, hi, I'm Chad. What's your name?" Like, I just, that just frustrates me. And I know I'm getting off topic, but just being mad that people want to be who they want to be is such a fucked up thing, right? It's so fucked to get mad because someone is happy. that's essentially what's happening here, and you can't tell me otherwise. Like, if you get mad that someone is happy being themselves, then you're the problem. You're the problem. So, I don't know. Whatever. I'm hopeful that people that are watching this aren't like that. So I apologize if I'm talking to you. I don't mean you, obviously. But it's just a thing that's very important to me, because I have friends, I have family members, I have people that I love and care about, who are part of the, and a lot of this relates to the sorry, I messed up, LGBT plus, community. And you can make your jokes and you can whatever, and I'm a comedian. Jokes are fun, haha, we want to joke around, but at the end of the day, if you legitimately have an issue with how someone else is living their life that has no effect on you, then you're part of the problem. And that's all. I'll move on. I just gotta say that because it's very important to me. So back to some more lighthearted stuff. I did find it funny that this is an art show, right? And, you'd make a painting and everyone would be like, oh my God, that's the greatest painting ever. It's so awesome. It's so cool. And I'm sitting there being like, it is a good painting, but it is kind of funny that the animators are kind of jerking themselves off a little bit. Like, it's kind of like that meme that of Obama putting a medal on himself or something. Have you guys seen that? It's very it's probably only funny to me, but I did find it kind of funny where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, good anime, good artwork, yeah, no. So I thought that was fun. I did find it a little weird, though, that for an art show, the art style itself was a little basic. There were periods, no pun intended, of time where, Yaguchi might have a vision of how he wants a painting to play out, and he might, there may be, like, swoops and swirls and screen effects and stuff that really kind of bring his vision to life of how he's painting and, kind of in an abstract way. But I thought it was a little, I guess it kind of makes sense in the sense of like all of the best art should go into the actual paintings to not only highlight that, but also highlight how powerful the art itself is, because the rest of the world seems kind of drab in comparison. But then you look at the artwork and it's all vibrant, it's all, detailed and everything. So I guess I'm kind of, answering my own question here with that. But I just thought it was a little like, you see this great art in shows like Demon Slayer or things like that. And it's like, man, I kind of wish that they put a little bit more spectacle into their actual art, because this is an art show, into the art of the show specifically, not the art in the show. I know that's probably a little confusing, but anyway, it's not a big deal. Another quote that I thought was very important was, again, I'm bad with names, but another student in Yaguchi's class, she says, just because I'm liking something does not mean I'm having fun. Which is like, oh, damn. Shit, like, that actually kind of hits hard, like, really heavy. Because I like stand-up, for example, but sometimes, I've gotten to a point where I'm telling the same jokes in front of the same people, and I love making people laugh. That's why I do stand-up. That's why I do videos. Like, I enjoy talking to people, and, sometimes my videos on here aren't super comedic because I'm talking about stuff that maybe isn't comedically focused, but I do enjoy bringing some form of laughter and some form of joy. So I do like that, but sometimes it kind of feels like, am I really having fun right now? Like, right now I'm having fun. I'm not, trying to say that this video is trash or anything. I mean, it kind of is, but regardless, like, I'll be on stage and I'll be like, am I actually having fun? Because, like, I enjoy this, but, like, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm kind of bored, So I thought that was kind of a very interesting thing to think of. And another quote was, it's sometimes tougher to take the easy road than stay. Oh, sorry, I can't even read my handwriting. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So it's sometimes, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know if I have this exactly correct, but it's sometimes tougher to take the easy road than to stay on the hard one. And that's another point of like, you know, framing it, in the show, talking about art is, I forget the exact reasoning behind it, but, sometimes it's tougher to stay with something, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase myself. It's sometimes tougher to say, well, I'll just do this because it's easier. Um, Even though you would think that, doing the easier thing would be easier, but sometimes you got to feel like you got to prove to yourself, no, I got to do the hard thing. I got to push myself. And that's why it's so tough to give up and do the easy thing. If I'm explaining that correctly, I hope I am. Another thing that I thought was was really cool is, as Yaguchi is getting better and better at art, he's really taken art. He's almost a natural at it in a lot of ways. Well, he is a natural at it, but he really takes to art, and he gets good at it very quickly, and that in turn then inspires his friends. His buddy becomes a pastry chef. Another one of his kind of like, you know, kind of, fellow rebel kind of punk buddies who everybody kind of looks at and is like, oh, this guy's this big, tall, quiet guy. Like, he looks like, oh man, he's scary, he's, oh, whatever. And he chooses to follow his dream of becoming a pastry chef. Now, again, is that something that society would pick out for a guy like that? No. Is that something that you would normally see a guy like that doing? Probably not. But he does it because it means a lot to him and he loves doing it, which is, again, the kind of the main theme of this show, is doing what you love and being happy doing what you love. And not only did Yaguchi's buddy get to that frame of mind, but he got there after seeing Yaguchi follow his dreams. And and again, I'll relate this to myself in stand-up. Like I said, there are times where I get bored and a little complacent, a little down on myself, because it's like, yeah, I'm kind of bored telling these same jokes, but I can't really think of anything new. I can't really think of anything funny right now. So I'm kind of stuck in this rut. But then I go see one of my comedy buddies crush it on stage, or I see them, moving up in the scene, or I see somebody new pop up and immediately take to the stage very well. And then it, reinvigorates me to be like, oh man, this, it's fun seeing people succeed. It's fun to see your friends succeed. And that, gives you not only a new lease on what you're doing, but a new lease on how you can, apply that, what's the word I'm looking for? You can apply that kind of mojo, I guess, and take that and be like, okay, now I'm gonna do my thing, because I've been inspired, So it's very nice to see. And yeah. And then the last two things I wrote down are kind of what I already talked about, the very real pressure of exams, and not only the exams, but covering the costs, the financial and mental and physical costs of everything. I feel like this show delves into a lot and is really, touches on a lot. And never being satisfied and always wanting to improve. And again, as someone who does art himself, I'm always, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm always trying to find ways to make my videos more appealing and more enjoyable. I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I make my stand-up better? How can I make my lines punch a little heavier? How can I be funnier? In any facet of life, I think we can all relate to that. Always, and especially artists, they'll tell you, a lot of artists will say that, they do something and it looks amazing, but then you look at it and you're like, man, I could have done that better. I could have done this better. And, that can sometimes be a little dangerous to not be able to sit back and admire your own work and the stuff that you put into, but also that's just the artist mindset of being like, no, I need to do that better. I definitely can do that better. I can make that better. And there's always ways to improve not only your art, but also yourself. I think it's very important to realize that as well, is to never be satisfied with yourself and always want to improve yourself. Well, I should rephrase that. I'm sorry. Yes, be satisfied with yourself. I'm not saying to not be satisfied with yourself. If you're happy who you are, be satisfied and be proud of that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Let me rephrase that. But I think it's important to always want to improve yourself, I think was the main point that I was trying to get home with that. So apologies there. I didn't mean for that to sound the way that it sounded. But I do think it's important to always want to improve and always strive to be a better person and always strive to get to that point of like, truly feel at peace and I truly feel happy and I worked hard to get here, I think is a very good feeling, and a feeling that I think they touch on very well in this show. At the end of the show, you legitimately feel proud of Yaguchi and you feel proud of these characters. Like I felt like a sense of pride. Like I was watching, one of my homies crush it on stage, and I feel proud. And then I watch Yaguchi. Well, I won't spoil it, but I watch him by the end, and I'm like, man, I am proud of this guy. He really got his shit together. And a lot of the other characters, I'm proud of this person. So that was a very cool feeling. And I know it may sound a little ridiculous to, be proud of fake two-dimensional characters, but it's true, and that's another reason why I love anime. It can really touch on a lot of emotions, and I definitely felt a little emotional at the end of this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been talking for a half an hour. I hope I said something enjoyable. This is probably one of my longer videos. So if you made it to the end, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I'm always looking for ways to make my content better, but if you guys enjoy just a simple discussion on things, I'm okay with doing that. I enjoy just talking, and it makes it easier on me because there's less to edit. So leave a like if you want. Maybe a subscription would be awesome. I'd appreciate that a lot. And even a comment. Even if you didn't like this video, please leave a comment. Really, I mean, if you're just gonna leave, hey, fuck you, you suck, I already know, okay? You don't need to leave that for me. But if you have like some legitimate criticism and constructive stuff that I can take and make myself and my videos better, feel free to leave that. I don't mind that at all. I really don't. I'm not above that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think Blue Period is very important. I think it's a good ride. It's a fun show. Well, maybe not fun, but it's fun to see where these characters go. It's fun to see how much, something inspires and changes a person's life. I have not read the manga. A lot of people say that it's better. If you're a manga reader, read the manga and you'll probably get a better experience. But again, I didn't read the manga. I'm going off of the anime, which I might read the manga at some point. But obviously I've got enough to read back here, so we'll probably wait on that. But anyway, again, hope you enjoyed the video. This was a long one. Thanks for making it to the end, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.